You know, when we think about the First Crusade, the picture that usually comes to mind is, well, it's European knights marching off to the Holy Land, right? But what if we flipped that story on its head? What if we told it not from Rome, but from Constantinople, the capital of the Byzantine Empire? Because from where they were sitting, this wasn't some glorious holy war. It was a crisis they kicked off by mistake.
So, just imagine this for a second. Your empire is on the ropes. You're facing a threat that could wipe you off the map. So you call for help from your long-lost cousins out west. You're expecting a small, professional team of soldiers to show up. But what if the thing that arrives at your door is something else?
For the Byzantine emperor, this was the absolute nightmare scenario. He basically asked for a scalpel to fix a very specific problem, and instead he got handed a lit match in a warehouse full of fireworks. Yeah, this is the story of how the First Crusade became a Byzantine catastrophe. Okay, so to really get why the emperor made this call, we have to understand just how bad things had gotten in Constantinople by the late 11th century. I mean, this wasn't a problem that just popped up overnight. It had been building for a long, long time. So what you're seeing here is an empire that's just been squeezed and squeezed for centuries. First, the early Arab conquests took away some of their richest lands. But the real knockout punch, that was the Battle of Manzikert in 1071. It wasn't just a loss, it was a total disaster that basically broke their army and threw the doors wide open for the Seljuk Turks. And by the 1090s, those Turks weren't just a distant threat. They were so close they could practically camp out and watch the sunset over the city walls.
And this is the key. You have to understand what Emperor Alexios was actually asking for. He was not calling for some grand crusade to free Jerusalem. No, he was a practical guy in a really tight spot. He wanted to hire mercenaries. You know, trained Western soldiers he could pay, give orders to, and use to push the Seljuks back. He thought he was placing an order for a military contractor. Well, Pope Urban II got that message, all right? But the thing he unleashed at the Council of Clermont was way bigger, it was way more chaotic, and from the Byzantine point of view, it was absolutely terrifying. The wave of people that started heading east was not what Alexios had in his shopping cart. So before the professional armies of the princes even got their boots on, the first group to show up was this thing called the People's Crusade. And ramshackle horde is honestly the perfect description. This was a massive, fired up, but totally disorganized mob. They didn't pack enough food, so what did they do when they crossed into the empire's lands? They started looting. For Alexios, this was the first huge red flag that his saviors were going to be a massive headache.
And this slide just lays it all out, right? On one side, you've got the simple, clean plan, soldiers for hire, loyal to him. On the other side, you have the messy reality. First that hungry mob, and then, coming right behind them, the main event. And these guys weren't mercenaries. They were powerful princes with their own armies, their own goals, and their own very different ideas.
Let's just take a look at this cast of characters, because these were not guys who were just going to take orders. You had pious men like Godfrey and Raymond, sure, but they were also major power players. You had Baldwin, who was basically just looking to grab some land for himself, and then you had Bohemond. For the Byzantines, this guy was their worst nightmare made real, a warlord who'd already been fighting them for years. These weren't saviors, these were sharks, and they smelled blood in the water.
At first, Alexios tried to control the situation. He actually made these lords swear an oath that they'd return any former Byzantine cities they managed to capture. And the first big test, the city of Nicaea, it actually went pretty well. But that alliance was built on shaky ground. And when they got to the great city of Antioch, the whole thing was about to shatter.
Antioch. Antioch was the big one. An ancient, massive, heavily fortified city. Taking it was this brutal 8-month-long nightmare that nearly broke the entire Crusader army. And it was right here, in this pressure cooker of starvation and desperation, that the real ambitions of these Western lords started bubbling to the surface.
And this lays out the breakdown perfectly. It starts with cooperation at Nicaea. Then suspicion kicks in. The Byzantine general at Antioch pulls his troops back, thinking the siege is a lost cause. That gave the ambitious Bohemond the exact excuse he was looking for. He started making his own secret deals. And when the city finally fell, whose flag went up over the walls? Bohemans. He just declared that the emperor had abandoned them, so their oath didn't count anymore. The city was his. It was a complete and total betrayal. If you really want to feel the Byzantine perspective, you have to hear it from the emperor's own daughter, Anna Komnena, who was a historian. Just listen to how she described Bohemond. That's not how you describe an ally. That's how you describe a monster, a force of nature. Her words just capture that deep-seated fear and total mistrust the Byzantines felt about these so-called helpers.
So, that betrayal at Antioch, that was the point of no return. After that, the crusade was no longer about helping the Byzantine Empire get its land back. It was about creating something totally new, right in the empire's backyard. And it was going to be a thorn in their side for a long, long time.
Eventually, the Crusaders pushed on, and in 1099, they captured their ultimate prize, Jerusalem. Now, in the West, this was seen as this incredible, miraculous victory. But for the emperor back in Constantinople, the news was a lot more complicated. He'd completely lost control of this thing he'd started.
And here's what he got in the end. Instead of his old provinces back, Alexios now had 4 brand new, aggressive, and totally independent Christian kingdoms squatting on his southern border. These were not his allies, they were his new rivals. Baldwin got his kingdom, Bohemond got his prize, all of them carved directly out of land the Byzantines felt was theirs.
And it wasn't just the Byzantines who saw what was happening. Local Arab chroniclers like Ibn el-Athir, they also knew that a powerful and really disruptive new player had just shown up on the world stage. The Franks, as they called them, had just changed the game for everyone. The whole world had been turned upside down.
So, think about it. The emperor called for help to fight off one enemy, the Seljuk Turks. And in the end, yeah, the Turks did get pushed back. But in their place, a new, unpredictable, and often hostile power popped up right on Constantinople's doorstep. And that leaves us with this huge question, right? From the Byzantine point of view, the First Crusade wasn't a victory at all. It was a terrible bargain that had gone horribly, horribly wrong.